Well, good day, folks. Welcome back to Woodcraft. My name is Joe. Thank you very much for being here today. It is great to see you, great to have you here. Well, I want to talk to you about some common problems with people finding, or beginners finding success with a bow drill. There are three common things that I consistently see from beginners who come to me and say, Joe, I'm trying, but I'm having these kinds of problems. I want to go over those, kind of answer what I found as I was learning that kind of helped me push past those issues. But I also want to talk to you guys, in doing this how-to or demonstration today, I want to kind of highlight a viewer submitted knife. This is from Bill K. He made this for his son, and both his son and Bill wanted me to take a look at it before Bill's son took possession of it. So we're going to look at this just a little bit today. I know Bill has really enjoyed the bow drill fires that I have done in the past, but I do want to highlight Bill's skill. And so we'll talk about the knife, and let's go ahead and talk about three common problems with finding success with a bow drill. Problem number one, or tip number one, the most consistent question I get, or the most consistent problem posed to me that folks are having, is I just can't keep my bowstring tight. Or they say conversely that it is too tight for me to use. It keeps on knocking the spindle out of the hearth board. Well, that is why I recommend, at least for beginners, using a curved bow. And I'll demonstrate that here in just a minute, but while I have this up close to the camera, I want to show why. If you're holding the bow right here, you have, once it's tight, you have all this play right here. So what I recommend is, instead of holding it like this underneath the string, hold it above the string, and once your spindle is tight in there, as you're bowing, you have about 1.5 inches of play there where you can adjust the tension of your string on the fly. Now, that's not to say there's anything wrong with using a straight bow. They do work, they work just as well, but it's a bit more finicky. You pretty much have to get the tension on that string tight when you tie it. There's really no way to adjust it after you get the spindle on there. There's a couple fancy ways, but as a beginner, I don't really want to delve into that. Problem or tip number two, another consistent issue that I get, probably number two, is that I can't keep my spindle in the hearth board, especially after I notch it out. The thing I do to address that is instead of rounding off the spindle as I carve my set out, I carve it to a fine point and then mirror that point into the hearth board, so they're mirrored together, they're locked together. The point of the spindle is firmly dug into the small hole in the hearth board, and as you burn it in, it rounds out the hole, it mirrors the spindle to the hearth board for a perfect fit, instead of just kind of guesstimation as you carve out a hole in the hearth board and carve a rounded end on your spindle. Not only does this help keep your spindle firmly in your hearth board as you burn it in, but also after you cut your notch in your hearth board, unless you burn it in too far, you still have a minute point on the end of that spindle and a minute dimple on the inside of the hearth board divot, to where they are still almost locked into place. And it really assists you into getting a coal from that point, because they are still somewhat locked together even after you have made the notch in your hearth board. And problem number three, or tip number three, and this probably is the most important, even though it's not requested or asked of me that much. Problem number three is, Joe, I'm trying, but I just think I have the wrong wood. I just don't think it's going to work for a bow drill. Well, that may or may not be true, but there's a trick, at least that I have used in the past, to find out if I'm on the right track or if I'm not. However, I will say, just pause for a second, and I want to say that the number one trick here for bow drill, hand drill, pretty much anything in bushcraft, if you guys have been around for a while, you know what I'm about to say, is know your resources. The problem probably is not so much in the wood, it's probably more so you just don't know what kind of wood you're working with. And don't take offense to this, but each different kind of wood in doing a bow drill has its own finicky way that it is most efficiently brought to a coal. So just because it's a hardwood doesn't mean it's not going to work. Hardwoods do work, and most of them work pretty good. It's just there's a different procedure, or different formula, so to speak, as far as speed, pressure, and heat, etc., to get them to a coal. So that being said, it's probably not a wrong kind of wood. It's more so a lack of experience. No offense intended, but here is a quick tip to let you know if you're on the right track or not. Get out your flint and steel kit and grab a chunk of char cloth. Charred punkwood works just as well. What I suggest is go until you have a nice pile of dust. Don't worry about the color. If it's black or really dark brown, you're definitely on the right track. But get a good pile of dust inside that notch and stuff a piece of char cloth up in there. Don't squish the dust that you have, but get it up in there nice and firm, so you're sure it's not going to pop out when you start turning your spindle to get a coal. What this tells you is, if you're on the right track, if you are creating enough heat to get an ember in this char cloth, you're getting close to getting an ember in that dust. You're just not quite there yet. Either you don't have the efficiency down quite yet, or you're not bowing long enough, etc., etc. But if you can get this to get an ember in it, you're more than likely on the right track for that wood. All right, folks, well, those are my 3 top tips or answers to the 3 top questions that I get in regards to bow drill, people having issues finding success for that first time. Also, Bill, thank you for sending this in. This has been a lot of fun to play with. Your son's going to be very well pleased. It's got a really good balance to it. It's a very nice weight. For the thickness of it, you have managed to get the balance down spot on, in my opinion. I do suggest, kind of rounding out, softening out the corners of the handle here, but we've already spoken about that. It's got a nice sharp spine on it, guys. The grind is nice and even. It's a saber grind. The convex secondary on this is really nice. Bill has got some skill. I really like the centerline point that you put on this. It's a really nice, heavy knife. It's a bit beyond a bushcraft knife. I would say it's entering into the realm of a survival type knife, but that's not a critique. That's not a problem. I mean, it's nice. Your son is going to get a lot of enjoyment out of this. As far as the sheath goes, obviously, it is a beginner sheath, no offense, Bill, but it is a very well done beginner sheath. You're on the right track. I would not be ashamed at all to use this. It's very nice and very comfortable. Again, like I said, round out those corners right there, and this handle would be perfect. It fits really well for this traders or trapper style knife. I really like it. Good job, Bill. Anyway, folks, I hope you've enjoyed this tips and tricks. If you have any other questions, feel free to hit the comment section up. I will do my best to answer them there. If you want to keep it private, I know some folks prefer private communication. Hit me up on Facebook if you know me there. Also, you can hit me up at joe@ferrellwoodcraft.com. Anyway, folks, thank you again for being here today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you found it helpful. If you have, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up. It does help the channel out quite a bit. Guys, if you enjoy videos like this and you haven't done so yet, there's a red subscribe button right down here. Please make use of that. And also, guys, like I have said before, make sure to use that comment section. I will do my best to answer as many questions as I possibly can down there. And again, feel free to hit me up at my email address if you would prefer to contact me privately. Anyway, thank you again for being here today, and I will see you next time. I hope you guys have a great day.